Hello and welcome to Shop Talk with Dan the Man. In today's video we're going to talk about this. This is RIDGID's crown stapler and this is cordless. So let's jump right into it and go over the features. Hello, if you're new to this channel, my name is Dan Shannon. I enjoy woodworking as a hobby and being out in the shop. On this channel, dive deep into my shop as we explore tools and tool reviews, as well as chatting about everything related to woodworking. If this grabs you by the tool belt, please subscribe to my channel if you want more videos like this. Hello and welcome to Shop Talk with Dan the Man. If you're new here, welcome. If you're returning, thanks for coming back. Today's video, we're going to just jump into this. This is RIDGID's crown stapler. This is their cordless stapler. We're going to jump into the features and then some hands-on, and then I'm going to jump into some final thoughts. What I think about the stapler, how is it performed, and is it something you should purchase? So before I do that, let's go over the model number. This is model number R09897, and this is RIDGID's crown stapler, and it takes 1/4 to 9/16, so that's 6 mil to 14 mil for the staples. So let's jump into the features that this tool has. Features. Okay, the features of this tool. Take off the battery, slide that to the side. Features of this tool, you'll notice on the front it says RIDGID, and then we have this plate. Now this plate is used for wires, so if you have, in my case, Christmas lights, it has a nice little arch, so when you snap it on, you'll have a cutout, so when you staple that. It also has some metal pricks here, and that helps control the stapler if you need it to gouge into some wood. And in order to apply that, it's just held on by these orange notches on either side. So you just pry this loose and this whole thing comes off very easy. So if you're doing wires, you just take this metal piece, line it up with the bottom square on either side, make sure it's snapped in place, which it is, and then you're all set to staple some wires, and it won't pinch the wire because of that cutout. So it gives you that distance, as you can see there, when you press on the trigger, so it won't bend the wires. And then when you're done with that, you can just unsnap it again, and it shows on there for store. It says store, so that means you switch it back the other way, and then there's a little metal tab there, and there's 2 tracks in the front, so that gives you an idea where that track needs to be. So it's very straightforward. You can't screw it up because of these notches and the tab. So you just slide that back in, and then once it locks in, you're all set. So there it is for storage when you're not using that feature. And then let's go to the top here. You notice there's this dial on the top, and that dial is for plus and minus for your staple. So when you're driving a staple and you want a little bit more extra pressure, you just turn this dial, and there's a spring kit in the inside that'll adjust. You can hear it winding up to get your preferred depth of your staple, and I find that's useful if you're using like hardwood, say, versus softwood. To get your pressure adjusted, you just turn this knob and that'll change that. It's not dramatic, but it does change it. And then let's go to the side here. You're going to notice your trigger. You have a nice trigger on the machine here, but it won't activate. It's actually locked. Then there is a safety down below, this black little nub that sticks out. That's your safety, so you have to press it down fully to engage it, and then your trigger will work. and I'll show you that in hands-on, but the trigger will work now once that's pressed down. And then there's another little button here on the back side, and that's your LED light. Once you have your battery connected, I'll just show you that. Battery's connected, there's your LED light that shines from this back. So if you just want to illuminate, you can just press the back, but the trigger will also do that. Once the safety is off, it'll turn on the LED. So just give you an option there, whether or not just to turn it on manually or not. And then you'll notice on the bottom side you have your track, and that's a nice opening here, so you can see how much staples you have inside the machine itself. In order to refill, you just have this back metal piece. You just squeeze it down, it's spring loaded, so it will jump back at you, and then there's your opening for your staples. It does say on here, do not load staples on the top. The staples are meant to be dropped in the bottom section of the stapler, and I could see how some people would confuse that by putting the staples up here and then trying to jam it in, but they do actually fall in the track. And like I mentioned before, they do have two different sizes of staples. You can go from 1/4, so that's 6 mils, to 9/16, which is 14 mils. So that gives you the option, and that's the T50 staples. So I use the T50 all the time. I really enjoy their product. They don't jam, or at least I haven't had them jam, so they're really nice that way. So let's look on the back side. You notice here on the back side just has your warnings, and then of course the staple information is inside here by the grip, and then of course it has your model number and some more warnings where eyeglasses, etc. And then on the top it's got a really nice grip for your handle, which I really enjoy. You know, RIDGID always has a really nice grip. And then has your belt clip, or you can, if you're wearing pants, you can just kind of put that on the side of you. So that came as well. You just screw that on as a little accessory. So I thought that was quite nice. And that's pretty much it. And then you have your battery, of course, that clips onto the bottom. And like I said, in previous tools, you can use different sizes of batteries. You know, I got the 4 amp and then the 2 amp that came with it. So it gives you some options, and there is more weight to it, but it does give you the longer run time and the ability to add more. So I do like that, RIDGID, that you do that. So that's pretty much it for the features of this tool. I think I covered pretty much all of that. And let's jump into the hands-on. So before I show you some outside uses I have for this and kind of the hands-on, I just want to do a little hands-on here in the shop and show you the refresh rate on the stapler. So you're probably wondering, when you start shooting, can you just go back to back to back with your shots, or does it take a while to gear up, or kind of how that feels? So I'll just show you that now. I'll just keep the trigger down and on the board and see how many we can put into the wood back to back without having this thing slow down too much on us. So let's jump into that. Let's try the refresh, see how many staples we can do. So as you can see there, we did quite a few. The staple gun never slowed down at all. Basically, as soon as I touched it back down, it released the staple, and I got a lot into the piece in no time. So I would say for speed, yeah, it's fast. Like if you had to do all that by hand in that short amount of time, you'd be there for a fair bit with a sore hand in the end. So let's jump into some stuff I have going on around the yard that I use this stapler for. So let's jump into that now. Okay, so here we are with the hands-on. I have my stapler here. I got my 2 amp hour battery. I just wanted to show you a couple features. It's actually snowing right now and quite cold. Hopefully the wind noise isn't too bad. But when it comes to Christmas lights, if you're going to install them, like I mentioned, the features, we're going to want to use this silver plate and turn it around. So I'll just undo that now, swap it around, and then drop it back down into the notch so we know it's nice and seated. So it's nice and seated. As you can see there, it's ready for stapling. So we have that nice notch so we can put the wire right in between and then apply the staple. So I'll just show you that up close with the staple gun. So here we are up close with the staple gun. Like I said, you have the cutout. You just slide the wires in between the cutout. Make sure it's planted nice and firm. Pull the trigger. And there's your staple. You can see it's risen up. It's not pinching the wires. Wires can move, so you don't have any buildup on any fire issues or anything like that. So once again, just line up your staple gun. Make sure the wires are in that track, and then pull the trigger. And that's just as simple as it gets right there. Nice attachment. Gives a little bit of movement. All right, let's jump on to my next thing that I use this for around the yard, which is my tarps when I'm doing my wood. So let's jump into that now. Okay, so here I am at the wood pile with the tarp. I got my staple gun. I changed the plate on the front to store. I didn't need that arch anymore because I'm not doing any wiring. So I'm just going to throw a few staples in this tarp, kind of show you that. So as you can tell, it works really well. What you want to do too, just another tip with your tarp, make sure you roll the edge a little bit so you get a little meat on the tarp so it doesn't pull away real easy. And then you just apply the staple. So yeah, that's just a little bit of what I use this stapler for around the property. I install tarps for my wood pile, Christmas lights, and various other things that I got going on. But super handy to have. Would recommend it. Very nice. I did turn up my crown to the extra strength, so the highest it could go, just to sink some of this wood's hardwood. And I want to make sure I get a good bite so the wind doesn't take it. And speaking of wind, it's actually really windy out here today, really cold. So hopefully the camera wasn't moving too much for you. But yeah, let's jump into some final thoughts. Okay, so my final thoughts after owning the stapler for a little bit and trying it out around the house. I've done a few things with it so far. You've seen me tackle some Christmas lights. It's time of year where I need to attach them. Wood, I had some tarps that I had to attach to the wood pile, so I use this crown stapler for that. And around the shop, there's lots of times where I'll need this stapler to tack something down, but mostly I bought it for around the property and the odd time that I need to use it here in the shop. But it is a great tool, saves on your hand. So a lot of times if you're getting into bigger projects like my woodshed, for example, I had to put a tarp on the whole roof. Same with the smaller woodshed. I wish I would have had this instead of your traditional stapler where you have to hand activate the staple, whereas this is just a simple pull of the trigger, which allows the staple to be released. So a project like that would be night and day for this. And if you're a contractor, it definitely would speed up, like vapor barrier, going along and just, putting the vapor barrier into the studs. So, you know, for general purpose use around your house, you'd have to weigh how often you'd use it versus the handheld. Maybe you only use it every couple of years, and the manual one would be perfect for your particular needs. But in my case, I use it a fair bit, so I thought might as well get a electronic version. And what better to use something that RIDGID had, and it's cordless. This one did come with a battery, so I bought the one that was a combo, came with a battery. You can add bigger batteries to this stapler to give you a longer run time, so that's preference. Weight will depend, so if you add a bigger battery, obviously there's a difference in size. That'll change your weight as you use this tool. So yeah, overall, would I recommend this for your shop? If given the reasons I just mentioned, if those check off your usage, then yeah, by all means get an electronic battery-powered stapler. But if not, maybe stick with your original handheld, old school, if you will, manual stapler. So thanks for watching today's video, and if you haven't already, please click on that subscribe button down there. We'd love to have you on board as the Shop Talk family, you know, to watch videos like this, have conversations. Maybe you have a stapler like this, maybe you're looking into one. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate, leave them down below. And like always, it doesn't matter how big or how small your shop is, just get out and enjoy it. You know, grab your tools, fire them up, and perform a project. You never know what you might build in the end, and at the end of the day, as long as you're getting out and having fun, that's the main part. And don't forget to register your warranty, your LSA, for your RIDGID tool. They do guarantee their batteries and their tools for the life. So make sure you go online and register that today, and have yourself a great day.